All right, hello and welcome to the Armchair NBA show, the 3-1 lead. I'm Harrison Scott, and Matt Rodriguez is not here with us this week, so we brought on another Matt Rife. He's a Mavericks writer for us. How you doing, Matt?
Doing all right, man.
All right, Matt's wife's out of town, so he gets to hang out and talk basketball with us today.
That's right. Second string Matt. They called me up, called my number.
Yeah, he's the backup Matt. All right. So from one Texas team to the other, normally Matt Rodriguez, as all of you know, is a huge Spurs guy. We're moving on to a Dallas guy.
That's right.
Dallas has really started to push for that eighth seed. I mean, they've been a different team than they were at the beginning of the year. I'd like to apologize to them. There was a point early in the year when I said the Mavericks were the worst team in basketball. And that came from the only guy on the floor trying was J.J. Barea. And my whole point was when J.J. Barea is your only guy giving effort, you're the worst team in basketball. So, Matt, what do you think has kind of led to the turnaround of this Mavericks team?
Well, in my opinion, there's a number of things, but there really has been a stark difference from the 2-13 start that we've seen from my Dallas squad. And man, there's a point in time when you would be right in saying we were the worst team in basketball, but the turnaround, man. I think it's partial credit goes to just team chemistry coming together. Dallas has seen a new squad for probably the last 6 years, a new starting lineup for probably the last 6 years. So probably just some team chemistry there. Health came back to our side. Dirk came back. Wesley was struggling. Darren Williams, who is no longer with us, rest in peace. He was injured for a stretch. And JJ still injured, should be back tonight here in an hour and a half tonight against Brooklyn. But so health, some chemistry, and of course these new acquisitions here with Nerlens Noel, little Yogi action. Those three things in combination probably attribute to our recent success.
Yeah, you mentioned the new guys, Nerlens Noel, Yogi rocking the 10-day contract, and Seth Curry's been playing like his older brother, so you must be stoked seeing this young talent in Dallas come together.
Dude, absolutely, man. Seth is lights out. He is unbelievable. His field goal percentage is through the roof. This is not the below average, the mediocre Seth you were seeing in Sacramento last year, man. Yeah, we got a solid squad now.
Yeah, and Steph Curry is an interesting one because obviously his older brother, Steph Curry, the reigning two-time MVP, NBA champion, he's got the wins record, he's got the three-point record, and Seth kind of it's hard for him to play with the last name Curry when he isn't his older brother. Like I don't know, were you expecting him to end up like his older brother, or do you have to adjust your expectations when you see Seth on the court? Or
yeah, great question. I think a lot of people treat him as just that annoying younger brother that's just there, that's just present. He's just a guy on a roster. But really what we're seeing here with Seth is him really establishing a name for himself and really finding his own niche. I mean, really what it comes down to is his shooting percentage. And actually more than that, his passing game has increased as well. His assist numbers have gone up. Really, we're seeing a side of him that looks a lot like his brother. I know. Just from what I've seen, he hates the comparison, but I think his last month and a half of play has really set him apart from being in the shadow of his brother, no doubt.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's just hard for him. I mean, it took him a while to develop. I mean, it's just hard to live up to the Steph Curry name. I mean, he went to Duke, and his brother was at Davidson. I mean, the only reason he got that Duke scholarship was because his last name was Curry, and everybody saw what his brother could do. So I think that's definitely hard to shake that, especially coming to the NBA. Yeah. So I definitely think we're starting to see him develop into more the player he's going to end up being, because he's not a bad player. I mean, Seth's pretty good player. He's just not his brother, but very few people are.
Right. Oh, for sure. And he is still young. He's a couple years younger than Steph. I do think he has a bright future.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of bright future.
hopefully in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, that Dallas is kind of pulling off that graceful rebuild where they're not just, just scrapping the entire organization and just starting from scratch. They're kind of bringing in those guys to, learn. They brought in Harrison Barnes in the offseason. The backcourt, as you mentioned, with Seth and Yogi Ferrell is looking pretty good, that young backcourt. What do you like about Yogi?
I love Yogi, and I love what he brings to this youthful rebuild. I love that Yogi is he's not your superstar point guard, but that's not what this Dallas team needs. What he brings is a good eye, a good IQ, a high IQ. He played 4 years at Indiana. He's a Hoosier. I know Mark Cuban loves that. Him and his Hoosiers. He gets the job done. He's consistent, and there really aren't many surprises with him, except maybe the only surprise is that he is doing so well.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a shock of me. A surprise was seeing him on an NBA roster. I'll admit,
Right.
I mean, he started killing it in Dallas, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? I had to go look him up, But yeah, he's definitely proven to be a at least serviceable point guard. I mean, and like you said, he's still young and growing. So
Right. And I think similarly to JJ, JJ can go off for 30 on a random night. I mean, it's not going to happen all the time, but I think Yogi has those same capabilities, just a random 25, 30. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely. He's definitely a good player. And then let's talk about Nerlens Noel. You wrote an article about, actually, it featured Nerlens Noel, Yogi Ferrell, and Seth Curry. It's about the young faces in Dallas. And you said Nerlens Noel could easily contend for title of best center in Mavericks history.
That's right.
You really believe that?
I do believe that, and it's interesting because, so really Tyson Chandler, as I noted in that article, is pretty much the renowned holder of that title, best center in Dallas Mavericks history. There's a few others that might be in the discussion. There we go. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. There are a few others that might be in the discussion, but I think that Nerlens really can develop as a player and begin to really find his identity and be that guy for Dallas. Be that guy who is similar to a Tyson Chandler, but has an extended stay. Tyson had 1 year here and 1 year there, and really those may be the best years of his career.
Yeah.
But we need a guy who has an extended stay, and Nerlens hopefully can be that guy. And as a part of this this rebuild, this young youthful rebuild that we have going on for the Mavericks here.
Yeah, and how shocked were you that you got Nerlens?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna say an 8.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I mean, I was definitely shocked that Nerlens was the guy moved from Philly. I thought it was going to be Jahlil Okafor. Obviously, they had to move somebody. Just you can't have that many power forwards and centers on a roster.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely am a big Nerlens Noel fan. I think defensively, he's definitely a presence. He can block shots. He can alter shots. He's a great rim protector. He's a good rebounder. And I really think he stepped it off offensively in Dallas. I mean, I've seen him throw down some sweet alley-oops. And, I mean, his just offensive game is definitely growing. And I'm sure part of that is working with Dirk. And
Right.
part of it's just, I mean, Dallas has talented offensive players around him. I mean, Harrison Barnes is good. As you said, the backcourt offensively is really starting to emerge. So I just think that he's in a much better position than he was in Philly, where he was, one of 7 guys above 6'10" on the roster.
Absolutely, I agree. And I do think I'll point out real quick, it's pretty interesting in Philly how the big guys fell after they traded him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got Ben Simmons hurt. Is it Okafor that's out for the rest of the year? Embiid, who's out for the rest of the year. Yeah. So really, it is pretty interesting, and I do think that Noel is probably much happier in a team that's getting some W's on the board. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of getting W's, do you believe Dallas will make the 8th seed this year?
Whew, that is a great question, Harrison. Great question. I think we will. I think we will. And I called it, man. I called it probably 2 months back when we started making this run. We got 4 wins in 5 games. Or I'm sorry, it's 5 wins in 6 games. But really have had a great 2017. We're a game and a half back for that 8th spot. I really see us with the momentum we have, with the roster moves we have. I really see us stealing that spot from Denver and surpassing Portland on the way.
Yeah, they've definitely got a good shot at it. What will this be? This will be 16 of 17 years that they make the playoffs?
It will, yeah. We missed that short year, the year after the championship.
Yep. Yeah, that's a pretty impressive thing to think about. Like, everybody likes the Spurs are the golden standard of a, real organization, that they do it the right way, the consistent, great culture. But Dallas is right there with them. I mean, Dallas is consistently a playoff team. They've got an owner who cares about winning. They've got a great coach. They've had a great star. I mean, Dallas, I feel like, doesn't get the credit they deserve for being a consistent organization.
I'm glad you pointed that out, man, because not too many are too quick to point that out. Because really, sharing a state with a team that's so successful, I mean, ridiculously successful. You're talking about the Patriots of the NBA in the San Antonio Spurs. Dallas does kind of fly under the radar in that regard, that they have been successful. They haven't posted an under 500 season in 17 years. They really have had some recent success, and really it's got to be all attributed to Dirk Nowitzki. It's got to be all to him.
Yep. Speaking of Dirk Nowitzki, the real reason that we wanted you on this week, Dirk hit 30K.
Perfect segue.
30K.
That's right, man.
6th player in NBA history to score 30,000 career points. Just your first reaction, what it means to Dallas. Go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah. What it means to Dallas, and really it's huge. You're talking about the 3rd guy ever to put up 30K worth of buckets on the same team. You got Karl Malone, you got Kobe Bryant, and then you got Dirk. And I think it's a cool thing for Dallas. This is really just the cherry on top of the Sunday for Dirk as far as his Hall of Fame career goes. But really, it is a pretty tremendous thing. You definitely, really the next step in his career is getting a statue out in front of the American Airlines Center, man. That's really it.
Right. I was so happy for the guy. I mean, and he came out firing in that game. He started hot as a pistol. It was just something special to watch because it's something we really hadn't seen from Dirk. He's getting older. Father time's undefeated, as the saying goes. And, to see him come out and look like young Dirk, and it was just something great to watch. And seeing Mark Cuban get as excited as he did for Dirk, it was a great game to watch. I was very happy. I was tuned into it.
I agree. Yeah, it was pretty sweet watching him get 18 points there in that first quarter. And the guys were looking for him. You're 20 points away. I don't know how many people know this, but they put out the Dirk 30K t-shirts in every seat in the arena in anticipation. Everyone was waiting for it. And if you watch those replays, the crowd exploded. I mean, we're talking finals atmosphere. The place lost their cool. It was cool to see, man. Coming from a fan who has watched him since he came to Dallas, it was really kind of a cool moment to see.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's just another notch in Dirk's legacy, which will be the greatest international player of all time. I mean, Dirk, German, just coming over and just setting the standard for what an international player should be. He played the right way. He was fantastic. I mean, I'm a huge Dirk fan.
Yeah, and really, if you look at Dirk and his career and kind of what he did for the league as a whole, he kind of redefined what the 4 spot was, what that power forward spot was. He kind of invented the stretch 4 position where he's a 7-footer Yeah, he will go down in history as the best international player, but also the best shooting 7-footer. No doubt about it. Where you have to have a guy guarding you out on the perimeter because Dirk will hit those threes nonstop. So
Right, exactly. And I mean, I don't want to overhype anybody or take anything away from Dirk, but there's a guy up in New York who might be able to catch him in both those. Dirk 2.0 with Kristaps Porzingis. I
we'll
mean, the
see.
guy, I don't know. He's Dirk to a T. I mean, I don't know if he's going to have the same career as Nowitzki, but he definitely looks the part and plays the part of Dirk 2.0.
That would be fun to see, man, to see him develop. And he kind of is a spitting image of Dirk. You are right there.
Yeah. Obviously, Dirk is a Hall of Famer. You know, he's one of the best players of all time. Where do you rank him among power forwards in the history of the game? I've got him third.
Man, you're going to get me in trouble here. All right, so number one, I'm thinking you got Timmy.
It's got to be Timmy.
It's got to be.
Timmy's the best.
He's just the big fundamental, man. There's nothing special about him. He just gets the job done and gets the numbers and the championships.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. One's got to be Timmy.
Yeah. If I can ask, who do you have as your two?
Karl Malone.
Okay. Well, a lot of people measure success in championships, which is so unfortunate for Karl Malone. I'll give you that because he had a hell of a career and just got short because he was going against Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I do think Dirk takes that 2 spot, though. I do. You're talking about a guy who has just stuffed the stat sheets on a consistent level throughout his ridiculously long career. League MVP. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think Karl Malone has been the league MVP. Finals MVP. 30K now. I mean, he's got to be my number 2. But Karl Malone, man, probably a 3, and then Hakeem the Dream, number 4.
I didn't even think of the championship thing when comparing them. Maybe that's just because that's not really what I look at, but yeah, I mean, Dirk, you can definitely make the argument. I mean, not only did he win a championship, but he beat LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, who I hold in high regard as 2 of the best players to ever play. I actually think LeBron's the best player to ever play, but yeah, I mean, Dirk, you've definitely got an argument for him at that 2 spot, but that's kind of my point, is that he's not only is he the best international player of all time, but he's one of the best players of all time, period. I mean, the guy is just fantastic. It's awesome to see him hit that 30K. It was just a great moment for basketball in general.
Let me ask you this, Harrison. Where do you put Dirk all-time ranking list? Where do you put him?
I think he's top 20. He's probably top 20, maybe top 15. 30K is just, it's so impressive.
It really is. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. Yeah. My phone keeps doing weird things. Yeah, I'd give you top 15. Well, you say maybe top 15. I'm definitely putting him in the top 15, but we don't have to go off on this.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy you can make an argument for, which is what I love about sports, is you don't always have to agree. You can make arguments.
There's always an argument to be made.
Exactly. What do you want Dirk to come back next year?
I definitely do. I mean, more Dirk basketball is definitely something that I'd love to see. The question that I have, though, is I mean, what value does Dirk see in coming back for another season? And really, my only answer for that is I think he's actually already said that he will be coming back for another year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he already said that.
Yeah, he said he plans on it. Yeah.
And really, I think the role that he will have is definitely a lesser one. He's really getting up there in age. But I think if he can kind of set the ship straight in his departure, if he can kind of be there to coach and mentor these young guys, I mean, that would be an unbelievable thing for this Mavericks franchise.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think there's any way this looks anything like the Kobe farewell tour next year, where they're just trying to kind of get him shots? You know, they don't really care about winning, or do you think the Mavericks will, you know, still try to win games, and you know that maybe that means not playing Dirk as much?
Yeah. Well, Mark Cuban has said before that Dallas is it's a winning team. It's a team that'll fight for its wins. It's never going to tank, or else they're going to look like the 76ers, who have compounded their losing seasons by just trying to tank for a pick. Dallas is always going to fight. And to answer your first question, I don't see this looking like Kobe's farewell tour at all. It's rare that you get to where a guy gets to his career, where to a point in his career where he's like, I love this game still. I'm just too old to play. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen all that often. And for Dirk, that's kind of what's happening. So it's not going to be about the glory and I'm going to sign my shoes after every game and give them away as my farewell goodbye tour. Dirk, I believe, is much more humble than that. I don't think he would end his career that way, or I don't think he desires the spotlight in that way, much like Tim Duncan. However, Tim Duncan was the silent. It was the silent goodbye from Timmy. But yep. I think that's kind of more how Dirk's will be, is just kind of a humble. Let me play my last season. Let me set the ship straight on my last season and call it quits.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't see it going like Kobe's. Just two completely different personalities between Dirk and Kobe Bryant. But yeah,
and then they're gonna put his jersey in the rafters and put a statue out front, man.
Yeah, they are. They better. I mean, if they don't, something's wrong.
That's right.
So obviously Dirk, hitting 30K, but still not having a great season. And again, that's because of age. I mean, he's great for what he is, but it's not like old Dirk. But we are seeing some fantastic seasons around the NBA. Just curious, from an outside perspective, who's your MVP?
My MVP, it's got to be Russell Westbrook, man. It's got to be. It's tough, dude. But I'm going to say Russ, just because of what he's doing with his triple doubles. It's unreal. I think he hit 31 last night, tying the second most all time. I mean, that's just ridiculous. We're watching history be made by him. I think you could make an argument it goes elsewhere, but that's my pick. What do you got, Harrison?
As of right now, I've got James Harden.
Okay.
But I don't know. Kawhi is definitely up there. LeBron's up there, and Russ is up there. I think it's between those four.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely the tightest MVP race we've seen in a long time.
I agree with that. It'll be an exciting finish to the year, no doubt.
Yeah, it will. Speaking of finishes to the year, do you want the Mavericks to get the 8th seed? I know I've asked you if you think they will, but do you want them to and go get swept by Golden State, or would you prefer the lottery pick?
Come on, man. Give my boys some credit. No, here's my take on it. I do want them to get the 8th seed. I really, really do. And 10 seasons ago, I don't know if you know this, 10 seasons ago, Dallas was the undisputed 1 seed, got 67 wins, 15 losses. This was 10 years ago. Dirk won the MVP. 8th seed was Golden State, coached by the Mavs' old coach, Don Nelson. And they beat us, dude. They were the 8th seed and beat us as a 1 seed. And so I think it may just be destiny, bro, that 10 years later, the roles are reversed. I want to see us at least put up a fight in that 8th seed.
Yeah, destiny is definitely something that exists, but so does the Warriors' death lineup. So I'm not sure if this is the year to pay the Warriors back. But yeah, that's I think they can definitely get the 8th seed. I think they're good enough. I don't think the Nuggets play good enough defense.
Yeah, you're right. Really though, if we can just see Dallas, if I can see Dallas just kind of just put up a fight, that's enough for me, man. That's enough.
All right, man. I think that's all we got for this week. That was Matt Rife, our Dallas writer. He's obviously a big Mavericks fan, psyched that Dirk hit 30K, and insinuating, didn't come out and say it, but insinuating that Dallas is going to beat Golden State in the first round this year. All right, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, brother.
All right. We'll see you.